Welcome to the AI Riff, where we cut through the noise and break down the top AI stories of the week with real talk and real relevance. No hype, no fluff, just a vendor agnostic take on what's actually shaping your world today. Whether you're in tech, lending, or just trying to make sense of the headlines, we're here to separate the wheat from the chaff and the facts from fiction. Now let's get started with your hosts, Mario Di Benedetto, Rob Katz, Ruth Lee, and me, Kyle Myers. We hope you enjoy this episode of the AI Riff.
Episode 29.
29.
We're almost 30. Come on. I think I'll still be wearing the same shirt when we do the 30.
So our next big number is what, 50, or is 50 nothing and the next big number is 100?
Well, no, actually, when do we end the season? Because it says, like in our episodes, it's season 1. How many episodes until you start a new season?
I'm pretty sure we're all going on winter break here soon.
Yeah, we are.
So,
if we weren't already. Speaking of that, Ruth is out today on winter break. So,
yeah, it's funny you say that because when Rob was out, you didn't say anything about him being out.
I tried to say something in between, and then I got sidetracked. Sorry, Rob.
That's all right. I didn't watch your episodes, so that didn't matter.
Okay. Well, what do we got? What are we going to talk about first, Mario?
So we're gonna have a little more fun than usual today. We're gonna do some retrospective stuff. We're gonna look back and see whether we were really smart or really stupid on episodes 1 through 28. And Rob, you can just say we were stupid early on because you weren't here yet.
I was here for episodes 1 through 12. I wasn't here. I got here on episode 13. Yeah. That's where we started getting right. So.
That's where we started getting smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hired the brains. We had the brawn, but we just didn't have the brains, you know.
Well, I'm going to give you a curveball since you just said brains. I'm going to mix up the order on what we were going to talk about there, Kyle. And I'm going to talk about the Galactic Brain article from space.com. Yeah. So we were really smart all year because we were right on top of this idea of data centers in space, right? And I should know which episode we talked about that. It wasn't that many episodes ago, right?
No. In fact, I think
it was about 5 episodes ago.
Yeah. So, and listen, we were right on top of it. Probably only a year after people actually started talking about it, we hit it. What I thought was cool, this is yet another company who wants to put data centers in space. But the concept that they wove in there, again, I think we're on the cutting edge here talking about this stuff. Company came out of stealth mode from 3 years. Ex-OpenAI guy is one of the leaders. They claim that they can beam energy from space. Pause for a second. Imagine all those satellites having solar arrays focused down on Earth. So, and the way it works is they get 99% of the time they would get sunlight. So they're basically always on. So they could level out big lifts of places that need energy, sudden blips or whatever, like all this stuff where the energy plants have to scale up because everybody needs their air conditioner in Southern California because it's hot. Like they could beam energy to specific places on the planet to do that. And I'll say I was somewhat skeptical of how soon we would see data centers in space. It just seems like there's so many things going out there. But man, you want to put some money behind getting this done. Data centers is one thing. Beaming down energy is another thing.
Yeah, that's not exactly AI, but man, around that season when Clark W. Griswold lights up the house and when you got extra power, just perfect timing. Perfect touch.
So what's interesting, Kyle, is these guys have pivoted. So they started their company to do capture power and beam it down. They are seeing the amount of money that the big companies are putting into space exploration for data centers in space. And I don't want to say that they're pivoting away from power, but they are adding to their repertoire in addition to the power, also doing the data centers in space. And then what they talk about is you do all the compute out there and just beam the answers back. So lightweight, the amount of data that needs to be beamed back down to Earth for the answers is not a ton of because it's all being processed, and it's being processed in a place with basically unlimited power and unlimited cooling. So those are the two big expenses that go around data centers. So it's what we talked about a couple episodes ago with the money that Google's putting into this. What was it called? Moon Launch or I can't remember what their project.
It was a moonshot. Yeah, it was one of their
Moonshot,
moonshot projects. Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys are like, hey, we've been working on getting power easy to also add to our repertoire of the data centers. And they are also targeting in less than 3 years. So it's going to move fast, and it's very, very interesting new technology.
I mean, it's basically just strapping a data center to a communications satellite and, using the energy from space to power it, which satellites do that already. I mean, I don't know. How different is this technology than anything that Elon Musk hasn't already launched up in there?
Yeah, it's pretty different. It's not really a communication satellite, right? This is a power capture satellite. So its main thing is the solar array to capture power and then transferring that power from the satellite to Earth. That's very different than sending a
No, I was
signal.
thinking in the AI application. So having a data center and doing all the computations, I get it. It's cold in space. You don't have to cool things off. I get it. You got direct access to the sun, no atmosphere to diminish the ability of the solar panels to collect energy. You get more energy. It's colder. It does all those things. Perfect environment for a data center. But I'm just wondering, with the not from the power perspective, but from it's a communications satellite on steroids. Basically, it's storing data, and then is that creating intellectual property, or is that creating a storage of data that could be attacked or taken from space? Like, there's not like a police cop. There's not a cop up there going, "Hey, don't come near." Your satellite alarm goes off saying, "Get off the car." It doesn't. It's not going to do anything. China could just build a little spacecraft, come over. Oh, that's cool. I want your data center. Dunk, just grab it. And
So you're saying they'll put the data in space, but they won't encrypt it. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying you won't have access to it. It doesn't matter if they have it and use it or not. It's just you won't have access to it.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why something in space could
Okay,
disappear.
so I already shot a hole in my argument. Redundancy. You have another one.
So
over the horizon that does the same thing. I get it. So.
I don't know. I'm not enough of an electrical engineer to appreciate, the entire concept of beaming energy, and it happens to be that they're beaming energy into other solar arrays, so it has to kind of go into certain spots so that it can feed into the grid and however that works. And maybe the economics aren't what I think they are, right? Maybe energy is just still so cheap, right, that it really isn't economical, even with cheap space rockets, to just do the energy part. So, Rob, maybe that's why they have to do both, right? It has to be the combo of data centers and energy, not just energy.
Yeah. What I think it's, well, first of all, energy, finding an alternative source of energy, I think is hugely important for climate change, all sorts of things, safety and everything else like that. Are we at peak oil? Is the cost of energy, continuing to climb and so forth, is a whole other discussion outside of the realm of, the three clowns that we are to be able to talk about. Tip of the hat to our TikTok follower, call us three clowns. But
he did stay outside the circus, though. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
That's true. So Kyle, to your point though, what I still struggle with, and I haven't been able to find any kind of imagery of these satellite data centers. And we talked about this a couple episodes back when we first brought up the whole moonshot thing. I've been in data centers before, and they're ginormous. There are racks and racks and racks of servers. And yes, there's power and there's cooling systems that don't apply, that don't have to be on these satellites. But I'm struggling to envision, and I've seen a picture of the Elon Musk satellites that are being used for the internet stuff. They're relatively small, right? And that's why there's so many of them up there and so forth. I think this is a much larger scale satellite that is going up to take the load of racks of servers and the chips for processing and all the other stuff that needs to take place on them. I could be totally wrong. I can't wait to see an image and a scale size show me an image with a person standing next to it to
Oh,
really
yeah.
understand how big these monsters are. Or no, they're the size of a water cup. So that's fascinating to me. I did just glance at their website, by the way. I was wrong when I said 3 years. They're targeting the first node to be launched in Q1 of 2027. It is Q1 of 2026 already. We're talking about a year from now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but don't you realize that this big data center you looked at before, you know, by the time you get that specced out, all the weights, all the everything to get it on a rocket, to get it up there and robotically put it together and get it online, don't you think that the technology and servers is going to be like, oh, wait, we've got faster ones. Let's change it to a different payload, and it's going to be
Which
constantly changing because the the payloads are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller for more data, or the same size, just more data can store on them. So
that goes to that whole thing about the depreciation cycle on the NVIDIA chips, right? How people are depreciating them over a certain time span, and the real lifespan is different than that, and it's like it's the same. Like, let's just say the chip, the useful lifespan is 5 years. They say a satellite in certain orbits lifespan can be up to 10 years, right? For some, and I don't know, maybe these are larger. I don't know if that makes them more or less resilient. It does seem like a risky business, right?
Yeah.
That there's a lot of things that could go wrong.
I mean,
So
I don't know how this all relates back to the mortgage industry, if it does at all. I just think it more relates back to more options for large language models to keep the cost down and the impact to water, power, and everything on our planet. I guess that's a positive, but I don't see it's really this is all the steak and no sizzle, right? This is all like foundational things that we could
it
do
could
to
be,
the
it could be, right? Yeah. If you could
okay.
perfect it, right, you could have just a completely different economics for a lot of the parts of the equation for the AI build out, right?
Yeah.
What is required.
To that note, like my direct cost experience primarily is Cursor, and I got grandfathered in for $200 for a year to use it in auto mode, unlimited type of use. If you try to sign up for Cursor today, I think they may still have a $20 a month plan, but you max out in 2 days, and then you're blocked, and you got to pay more money and stuff. So the cost of using the tools is certainly going up, and the companies that are providing the tools, and we'll talk about in another episode, some of the new stuff that's coming out on that. The cost to use the tools is increasing, not decreasing. And the primary driver to that is energy, right? The number one driver of the cost of this stuff is the companies that are providing the LLMs and the tools and stuff. It's energy.
Well,
And
it is, but it's also the thing you described a number of episodes ago, right? So the two biggest elements of AI are still writing and coding. Those are the two things that it's still most prevalently used for.
yeah,
And in coding, especially in Cursor, right? You've been given this tool where you can set things off and they just run. Well,
yeah,
that's very different than run, wait, stop, think. You've got multiple things as you described, right? You're the tech lead designer, and you can, as a developer, have many things. Well, that means you have that much more power you're using, right? So it's
yeah.
that much more expensive for that tool. I had there's an AI I've been working on to do, um, I'll say, some data manipulation. And every time I run it to try to test it, it runs somewhere between 45 and 75 minutes to run
Wow,
once.
wow.
And it's like, so the good news is I can just let it go off and I just come back whenever and check if it's done. The bad news is I'm opening multiple chat windows and I'm doing that a lot of different times. So I'm getting more bang for my buck. I actually, the first time today, it came back and said, "You've used your allotment."
So Kyle, to your point of what does this mean to the mortgage banker? I know we got other non-mortgage people that listen to us too. Is the cost of using AI is going up, not down. Solutions like this will help stabilize and bring down the cost ultimately. That's the intention and the goal of this stuff,
So spending billions will ultimately cause the cost to go down.
which will get more users using it, which will generate more revenue for those companies to give them their ROI.
So I'm going to do a shout out and a ask out. I don't know what this is going to
Oh,
be.
yeah. Okay.
No. So I want to shout out. I had shared amongst us a deep dive, a really really crazy deep dive article into data centers in space by a group called Per Aspera, right? Per Aspera ad Astra, but Per Aspera. So it's peraspera.us, and they did this. I want to say it was like 33,000 word, thing, and it goes into a lot of stuff that you just as a layperson wouldn't understand. And so my ask is hopefully they're listening. Is that they do something similar for the concept of energy and space, because it does seem like an incredible opportunity, right? If it really is something viable, and I'd love to know, like, what are the barriers to that happening.
Agree.
So go ahead.
Do you think this will translate to anything down on Earth, where I can put a TV on the wall and don't have to plug it in? I can just point it at the.
I think you're missing the kind of point of what they're trying to do. But imagine, something that can collect energy 99% of the day, right? Solar, that's in the right, geosynchronous.
How big does this thing?
But so imagine you've got to do a lot of coverage, and I don't know what it is, but imagine that you can start to accumulate what effectively becomes super low cost energy. If you can make it low cost, it's fundamentally different than anything we have right now, right? You have fossil fuels that you have to burn something, or you have solar. The wind is maybe the only other thing, but wind is also not 100% of the time, right? So there's there's an old science fiction, and I'll have to remember what the name is, but there's an old science fiction thing that basically goes down this road of what happens when we get limitless power, right? When we solve the power problem in the world, what happens to all of society? Like, power is not a thing I have to worry about. Power is everywhere. I can use it freely. It doesn't cost anything because it's so cheap and easy. Like, that's a whole different world than we live in. Obviously not something that's going to happen soon.
Well, don't be so cynical.
Okay. Well, maybe in my lifetime. I want to go from the big, brain on folks like that. What was the name of the company?
The space guys we're talking about?
Yeah.
Etherflux.
Etherflux. So I want to go from that to much smaller brains, and just have a little bit of fun, just a few minutes, because we don't like our episodes to be too long, and talk about our friends at Klarna. Because we basically built this podcast talking about Klarna in the first few episodes. We mocked Klarna to no end because Klarna was going to fire everybody, right? You guys remember that? They were going to fire everybody, and AI was going to take over, and they went up and they went down. And I'll just throw I'll throw more than one. I'll throw a couple of grenades out there. Since their stock opened, they are down 33%. Well done, gentlemen and ladies. And I'm just looking through. I looked through the news headlines for them, and clearly their buy now, pay later business, based off of AI, must be doing fantastically, because I see that they're out working to build crypto wallets for the masses.
Okay.
Big brains, little brains. What do we think of Klarna?
I think they were just trying to make some money.
I'm sure they are. They've got bigger brains than me. I'm not really. Come on.
I mean, hey, that's American ingenuity, right? Sometimes it doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out. So
even down 33%, they're probably
hey,
thinking a lot.
Amazon never, when it started, it was like, oh no, bookseller, come on.
Okay, so put down. Well, let's make sure we clip that. Kyle said that Klarna is Amazon.
You know what? Let's put a marker here. If I had money to risk, I'm at the age where I don't risk a lot of money. But if I was in my 20s and I put $1,000 bet on Klarna, I'm going to say I'd probably, within 10 years, I'll have $100,000.
Wow.
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 You realize that's 100 times what you started with.
Wow.
This episode brought to you by Klarna.
This episode brought to you by Schwab.
Yeah, but,
Cheaper.
Schwab.
wait, Schwab doesn't charge anything for those, so never mind.
That's how you get to keep your 100,000.
So have we beaten this?
Well, you guys, I'm the only one mocking Klarna. You don't want to take cheap shots at Klarna?
I'm just confused by them because if I remember correctly, their core business is about making payment.
Buy now, pay later.
Yeah, buy now, pay later. And you said that they acquired an AI business that does what?
No. They were AI's poster child, right?
Yeah.
Because OpenAI was, I don't know if they were backing them or whatever it was, but
Right.
and they simply said early on, oh, we're firing 600 people. So,
Right.
And now they're into crypto wallets. So how bad?
Yeah. So yeah, pay. Yeah. So
And to be,
crypto wallets is not a bad. I'm telling you,
I mock them, but I love them.
on the world platform, it's great place to put your money if you're like India and your inflation's out the yin yang. Buying crypto can be a great hedge. So. I don't know.
And while I mock them, let me give them some credibility. The company they're working with on their crypto wallet is Stripe.
Oh.
Not exactly a fly by night organization.
No, not really. No.
So
That's good. Hey,
Hey.
we have good friends. That's good.
and maybe that's the way to succeed.
So, did anyone do anything fun this week with your AI?
I'll just give a shout out to the team at Cursor. They came out with a new mode called debug. And before debug was there, I'd go back and forth with the agent when there was a problem, and the agent would throw spaghetti at the wall trying to fix what the problem is. And most of the time, it got it pretty good without breaking other stuff. Debug mode is incredible. Debug mode launches a background listener to the app and does a deep dive into your code base and comes up with 4 to 7 hypotheses of what the bug could be causing the bug, and then puts code into place to test the hypothesis, and then behind the scenes runs your application and identifies and logs which of the hypotheses is right, and comes back with, I am 100% confident that this is the root cause of the problem. It addresses it. It has me do some UAT testing and come back with, yep, you fixed it or you didn't. And when it fixes it, it then goes in and removes all the debug code. And it's not debug sending stuff to the console. It's like creating this shadow logging thing. And it has been brilliant. It is brilliant at solving, but it fixes the bug by identifying the root cause as opposed to just fixing a bug and breaking shit along the way that it shouldn't have touched. It's been out for about a week, maybe a little bit less. It's brilliant. Can't say enough good things about it.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm not even going to try to compete with that one. That stands on its own.
Yeah.
See, I don't. I'll save that one for later. Never mind.
Episode 30. Do that for episode
30, which will be our next episode. So on that note, I'm Kyle Myers.
I'm Rob Katz.
And I'm still Mario de Benedetto.
And this has been the AI Riff.
Wires hum like whispers in the deep dark night. Shadows dancing strange under neon light. Digits spinning fast like a gambler's hand. The clock chimes change, it's the new command. Oh, the future calls with a voice so clear. A melody of progress in every ear. No turning back, the wheels in motion. A tide of cold like the endless ocean. Binary prophets riding fading streams. Data flows like rivers fueling all our dreams. to the beat of change we sing. Every click and hum a key that rings. A revolution, quiet, but it's vast. Building empires where echoes of futures cast. Oh, the future calls with a voice so clear. A melody of progress in every ear. No turning back, the wheels in motion. A tide of code like the endless ocean.